Welcoming back the hardcore kid, Emanuel Newton here to MMAOddsBreaker. Get ready to fight Bellator 149. Linton Vassell coming up here on February 19th. Coming down to the end of training camp. What, about 2 weeks left? Training camp.
Yeah. It'll be 2 weeks out on Monday. Be for the fight.
So, are you done sparring already? You have a couple more times you got to spar before you're done, or how much more hard practice do you have?
A couple more times sparring. Just finishing. Getting things crisp. Body's already in shape. I guess putting the cherry on top. Whatever I feel needs to be finished up.
You've been around for a long time in the MMA game. You're coming off a two-fight losing streak right now, one to Liam McGarry and one to Phil Davis. Uh, it's tough right now in Bellator at your weight class. Like there are a lot of change-ups, a lot of new talent, a lot of new faces. How do you feel like this fight with Linton's going to do with you? How is it going to, where's the ranking system within Bellator going to put you after this fight?
Get this win over Linton. I see maybe making even like two. The thing with Bellator is like there's so many new guys coming in all the time. And there's so many guys willing to step up. So like last time I had like I fought right after I fought Linton last time I had another fight a month later. Just because it just happened like that. So Bellator is a little more anything could happen more in this organization. So, but I say, get this win against Linton, and maybe two more after that. Shine, and seeing that belt again. Whoever's the champion at that time.
All right, so it's you're saying two fights away, two couple more fights after this one, but it only seems like that Bellator has you fighting twice a year, right? It's if there's a rarity we get three in because of matchmaking and it needs you to come and fill a hole, whatever. So we're talking about after this fight, it's gonna be two more fights, and you have to shine in both those fights. You're talking about another full year before you're kind of back on the title hunt again. Is that what you see too?
You never know. To be honest, yes, that would make sense. And well, in the way that things usually go down in the MMA world. But like I said, I could have this fight, and then somebody get injured, and then, or they could say, hey, you want to fight again, and get another fight, and then the fans want to see it. Then it could happen by the end of this year for the championship. So yeah, it's just the game is evolving so much, guys. Like I said, guys always coming in, coming out, getting injured, being healthy. So it's just a matter of what the future holds, for me and for the light heavyweight division in Bellator.
Let's break down Linton. How do you see him as a competitor? Because he's, they were pushing him for a while as the future of the weight class, and then he hasn't really, put too much together in my mind.
Uh, last time me and Lynn fought, it was a good fight. Like I said, I was 2 weeks. I trained for like 2 weeks for that fight. I was blazing a bunch of weed. Being the old me. And this is a new me, even from the Phil Davis fight. Even there made some mistakes. But I feel. I mean, that's been my whole career though. If you look at my career, I'll lose two, and then I win eight, and then I'll lose like two, and then I win like seven. So it just seems like it's almost like that's what drives me. I guess maybe having to freaking get back up. I think. And also, I was talking to this about my boy the other day. You see a lot of guys that keep the championship. They usually end up getting in a lot of trouble. End up freaking, going down these paths where the things they become too. I guess I'm not gonna say lethargic, but they become too. I guess kind of just like lukewarm to the whole situation. And I feel MMA is one of those sports where you got to stay hot. And like I said, some guys they have that drive to just fight, fight, fight. I'm more of a guy. I'm a pretty nice guy when it comes down to it. Yeah, I'm a martial artist and I love this sport. But it's like I my whole life has kind of been a fight. So it's like if I don't have something to truly like get me up and get me going, a lot of times I can become I guess what's what I'm looking for. I guess just kind of out of balance. And what rebalances me is having to freaking grind out because I have to. It's like you have to grind or else your career's gonna be done. You're not gonna be able to pay your bills. You're not gonna be able to take care of your family. So that's what puts my mind in a different place and allows me to get back on those win streaks again.
So, how do you think this fight's going to go? You see him finishing on your feet. You see him, your famous back fist putting him down. Is it going to be a ground war? Is it going to be more of a tight, grinding battle against the cage? Like, how do you see this fight coming?
Lynn, he's a bigger guy. Slower. He's not the fastest fighter. He's definitely not he's not as speed as fast as me. He's pretty traditional. With his striking. So I mean, I just it doesn't matter where the fight goes. I'll be ready to go. That's always been my I guess my saying is, wherever the fight goes, it's I'll be ready to fight. So I mean, but yeah, we know we have a game plan. Just depending on, and all, the game plan can go out the window too, depending on what happens when I step in there with them. But I mean, but I definitely am ready. Definitely have put on a little size, little weight because he's a bigger guy. And just been working on just keeping my cardio on point. Keeping myself strong throughout the fight. It's not one of those fights where I can allow any of my muscles to gas out because he is such a big and strong guy that I have to have every bit and then some, in order to be able to push the pace to eventually break him down and finish him up.
I like that breakdown. And I do like your style and your attitude about fighting, where you're like, it's always going to be the same. I'm just going to where the fight goes. I'm going to have to win. I have to win in that space. So I want to change topics a little bit. Bellator, it's reaching for a lot of trying to get a lot more eyeballs on their
Yeah.
product. They're trying to get a lot more people. Obviously, sending Muhammad Lawal over to Risen in New Year's and have him win the whole tournament, which is like one of the most underrated tournaments around. When you have Muhammad Lawal out there and wins the whole tournament, like it was that fight that night. Those 2 nights of fighting were incredible. 2 nights of fighting to watch, and of course, Muhammad Bellator icon comes in and wins the whole thing. Well, now all of a sudden you've got Royce Gracie and Ken Shamrock coming up on a future card. Pat Miletich has come out and said he'd be happy to jump in and fight either one of the two winners. And then all of a sudden, Kurt Angle has just stated that he's working with Bellator now and getting ready to fight. Wants to jump in the ring and fight a Hall of Famer, which is basically 3 out of those guys. He can fight either Miletich, he can fight Shamrock, he can fight Gracie. They're all Hall of Famers. So, do you feel like sometimes that Bellator now is almost going the way of old style Japan, where there was partially amazing, talented fights that are very well match made, and then partially the gimmick fight to make people just want to watch the show?
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to look at the sport of, let's say, professional wrestling. How big is that? It's still freaking huge to this day. So I think when you can combine, the fans wanting to see, the characters, the men that are legends, the men that have put in the time, like Hoist Gracie, the father of jiu-jitsu. So that's huge. And I think it brings in a whole nother demographic, to the sport, and to Bellator MMA, and it's going to give the fans a lot more of an interesting outlook on what's going on in the sport of MMA. So yes, I mean, and I think it's interesting, like especially like if they got the followers too, and got the fans, because that's a lot when it comes down to it. That's a lot what the sport's about now. If you have the fans, you have the followers, you talk the right talk, you walk the right walk, to get your Twitter up to, however many followers, get your Instagram up to however many followers, and Periscope and all the other freaking apps they have now that people just seem to thrive off of and live off of, then they're going to watch, and it's free TV, so yeah, I definitely see them going down the path more of, of the pride, and connecting with Japan and using them to further the organization of Bellator MMA because it works, and if it works and if the money's right, and they're able to pay their bills and they're able to pay the fighters off and everybody's happy.
Are you seeing a benefit from these style of matches being match made up? Are you seeing more money coming in from your sponsorship deals or more people trying to hit you up for interviews and what have you? Are you seeing any benefit from the gimmick style of fight game?
I don't know if I'm seeing any benefit because it's still pretty new right now. I think it's only been what, maybe like not even a year yet. That they really start pushing it. They just, I think they just started connecting with Japan. Obviously Mo was just over there and stuff. So I think it's just beginning stages. But I mean, the biggest thing that I'm seeing the difference is sponsors have to find somewhere to go now because they can't do UFC. So definitely seeing a rise in sponsors, or the higher level sponsors that are out there looking to sponsor, fighters. So yeah, so I mean that's the only thing I'm really seeing. But the benefits of the gimmick fights and bringing in the kind of old school pride style, the veterans, haven't really seen too much from it yet. But I'm sure we will this year.
There's a rumor that Tito Ortiz might be fighting Fedor Emelianenko coming up
Shit.
sometime in July. If they offered you Fedor in July in Japan, is that a fight you'd be interested in? Because obviously, I mean, he's a heavyweight that's lighter in stature. Tito obviously is a bigger 205 pounder. You're a little bit smaller than Tito when it comes to size, but you're much younger, much quicker. Okay, so he's got a ton of experience, and obviously that's what he relies on. But you obviously have youth to your advantage as far as overall reps within the cage. So if they offered you a Fedor fight sometime in July, would that be another fight that you'd be looking to take, even though it is going to be
Before,
more pushed more like a gimmick fight than a real matchup for Emanuel Newton?
no, of course. Like if the money's right, I'll fight anybody. When it comes down to it. So there's no way I'll step down from and then to fight to fight a legend like Fedor or two, that'd be really cool. So yeah, I'm just here to right now. I've learned, man, like I'm just here to fight. I'm here to go where where they put me. As long as I'm able to keep climbing, as long as I'm able to keep providing for the ones that I love, and I'm able to give back to the people around me. That's what I'm about. So.
That's Emanuel Newton, the hardcore kid, getting ready to fight Linton Vassell coming up here on Bellator 149. Thanks, Emanuel. I know you're in between practices and lunch meetings actually today too. It's been a busy day.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate the
Yes, sir.
time. Thanks so much for fitting us in.
All right, thank you, Frank. I appreciate you.
You got it. We'll talk to you soon.
I'll see you guys later. Bye.